Shalam, Israel. And when I mean Israel, I'm talking about the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. The Lord's 54th annual Passover is going down again this year, sundown, April 1st at 500 South Salisbury Street in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Downtown Conventional Center. It's got enough room for all of us. The Lord's 54th annual Passover. Last year, brothers and sisters showed up from all over the world, rocking ancient garments and glorious apparel in order to serve the Most High in Christ. Now, it's that time again. Commander General Yohanna is putting out the decree for all brothers and sisters to show up sundown, April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us at the Sheraton in Raleigh, the hotel right downtown. It's at 421 South Salisbury. The Passover is right up the block at the convention center, literally within walking distance. Make sure you pull up. Make sure that you do your due diligence because rooms are going fast and they are limited this weekend. You understand? We have months in advance of preparation. Do not wait till the last minute to get your room. The Lord's 54th annual Passover, Saturday, April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us there.
It's about time, send the curses to them enemies.
Lovely, and you'll speak with John. Pretend the camera isn't here. It's my favorite line.
Absolutely.
So, John, why are you here?
So first, I'm Precinct Officer 5000 for Zakkai of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We were started out of 1 West 125th Street out of Harlem, New York. We are underneath the name of GEN.YAHANNA. And we're out here because today is Martin Luther King Day, and it's been 60 years since his famous speech stating that he has a dream. And the past 60 years, as Black Americans, we've had a lot of time to reflect, to analyze, and to look at the legacy of this man right here. And the reality is, Martin Luther King's dream has been a nightmare for Black people in America. You understand? A lot of things that he said, it sounded good, it felt good, but the reality is our conditions as a people hasn't changed as much as we would like to believe it has. And and so we're out here and we're just doing a couple of different interviews with people just to get their perspective and get a general consensus on what the people, what this means to them. And this is supposed to be a statue of hope, but I don't think it makes sense now to tell people to have hope in joining people that hate you and joining the people that don't view you as human.
So I want to ask you a second question. So a dream not fulfilled.
Absolutely. A dream not fulfilled, and not only that, a dream that will never be fulfilled. It's not the reality to believe that we can all join together in love when there's a people that are being destroyed and abused and oppressed. And, I'll just say this, and I spoke to a gentleman earlier, he was Jewish, and we had an excellent conversation. And I asked him, would it make sense for the Jewish to have stayed in Germany and they were being abused and oppressed and the horrible things were happening to them? And he then clicked for him. He understood. He's like, okay. So separation has to happen. And we follow a man that is greater than Martin Luther King, that follows what we believe in the Bible. And that's the man in GEN.YAHANNA. He teaches us to do what God says. And God told us to join ourselves together, O nation of desire. Not join ourselves to a people that hate you and abuse you and murder you. No one would advocate to continue to love your abuser. Everyone knows it's prudent and it's wise to separate yourself from someone that means you harm. And so that's what we do. We have our Passover coming up April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it's going to be an excellent event for all Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to come out. And like I said, we look at Martin Luther King, and he was a brother just like us, but we believe his dream has not played out the way that he thought it would play out, and that many of those brothers in the Civil Rights Movement would have thought it played out. So,
what's your name?
Kazak, Precinct Officer Kazak Ahmad.
Can you spell your first name too?
Absolutely.
Or your last name too?
CHAACAQIMAD.
Cool. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Absolutely. So, we got dip.
I.S.U.P.K presents the 54th annual Feast of Unleavened Bread. Last year we did it big. This year is going to be way big. More brotherhood, more sisterhood, more UPK. On Sunday, April 2nd, 2023, we're going to be at 421 South Salisbury Street in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Sheraton Raleigh Hotel Ballroom. We're calling all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to come join us.
Yo, man, we out. Man, you ain't going no damn thing, bro. You don't be going nowhere like that. See, I've been places, you know what I'm saying? I travel. I go, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, what about you, Shrew?
I mean, niggas don't really be going nowhere, but I know I do.
Where you been at? Where you been at, man?
Shit, I be out Puerto Rico, I be out Cuba.
Shit, I've been in the
This nigga ain't been to no motherfucking Cuba, man.
Where the Cuban cigar at?
Niggas go to Baltimore act like they been.
I've been to places too. I don't know what you gonna need. What you got? Well, you got no Captain. He's an international. You got been all over the place, Captain. Trinidad, Canada. Damn, I've been around, man. Damn, you been out there with turkeys on the
Damn, that's better than what I was.
What about you, Yashima? What's up?
No, I'm from Jamaica, but I've been Canada, Florida, New York.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? Philly.
Shit. What about you, Cat?
Well, I'll tell you where y'all niggas ain't been.
Yo, Cat, where you been though, man?
Man, I've been where y'all niggas ain't been. I've been to the Passover.
What?
Yeah, y'all never been there? You ain't never been to the Passover?
That was a hurt piece.
Y'all ain't never been to the Passover? Y'all ain't never been to the Passover?
What the fuck?
You ain't never been to the Passover? Huh? You ever been to the Passover? My bad. But y'all ain't never been to the Passover?
Unfortunately not.
You got the lamb slaughter. You got General Muhammad's class. We got the children's party. They got stuff for the kids to do. We got babysitters. They need babysitters.
I love the kids. I ain't fucking with the kids.
And we're gonna have the black party.
Shit.
And guess what?
What's that?
If you pay your Passover fees up front, you can get in the black party for free.
Hell yeah. That's what I'm
saying. Black party.
It's gonna be performances there. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be open bar with the beer and the wine all night. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna be in the building, you know what I mean?
Black party? Is that all? Shit. Oh.
Keep going.
Shalom, Israel. You already know what it is. We do it bigger and better every year. This year, the 54th annual Passover.
And before the Passover, we got the biggest party of the year. It's the annual Black Party, March 30th. That's on a Thursday at the Durham Armory. Make sure y'all in the building.
And the moment y'all all the waiting for, the 54th annual I.S.U.P.K Passover, April 1st. April 1st, we doing it big. Once again, serving the Most High in Raleigh, North Carolina.
And you can get all of that at this year's Passover. Y'all ain't never been to the Passover?
Shalom. It's that time again, Israel. It's the Lord's 54th annual Passover in North Carolina.
Y'all know what we do. Y'all know what we came to do. Huh?
The I.S.U.P.K under Commander General Yahanna will be hosting the Lord's 54th annual Passover in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Downtown Convention Center. This is something that you do not want to miss. Make sure that y'all bring the entire family.
Oh, you think I'm bullshitting? Wait till I get with you. If I gotta go to ground, I'ma shut the town down. I ain't about to stop until I hit sand down. All you gonna see is a lot of men down.
The downtown Raleigh Convention Center.
We ain't never stopping now. You running now. All my niggas go to ground. We go to ground. You dealing with the middle.
For blacks, Hispanic, and Native Indians. Go to I.S.U.P.K.com to purchase your tickets today. $200 per every adult over the age of 17 years old.
We are not the same. No, we not related. I'm not stuck on living. Death is a vacation. My camp undefeated. You cannot debate. You just want the clout.
The
We
Lord's
just want the grace.
54th annual Passover, April the 1st, is coming down to Raleigh, North Carolina. Commander General Yohanna has done it again. You don't want to miss this. Who y'all saw?
That's why I don't know you. I'm not letting nobody sell you crack. You know why? Because I never saw you before. But you a black man like me. That's right. And it's worth something.
This is Black Watch with Commanding General Yohanna, the only man to lead blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans.
God made man on this earth. The white man he made man. God made man. God wants man to obey him.
Bringing you real news.
You don't need a black man in the White House. You need a black man in every black house.
For many years, there's a lot of black people who didn't realize how deep the racism of white America was.
You ain't gonna do nothing unless you decide where you gonna stand at with the Most High.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Righteous solutions to issues plaguing our nation.
Boy, you better wake up and see the power that is within blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians.
Join us every Monday from 9 to 11 p.m. Black Watch. Let the show begin.
Once again, man, the I.S.U.P.K under Commanding General Yohanna out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We're here to get it on. Commanding General Yohanna will be here very shortly to solve all your problems and give you the information that you need to save your life. Until then, we're here with General Marriott. Give him a hand.
I'm sorry, Craig.
Officer Yediah, Officer Marriott, a young brother, give him all a hand. We're rocking and rolling in here tonight, man. We're gonna start the stories. Yediah, you're up.
Colonel McCon, sir. Tennessee cops, including married female officer, fired after repeated wild sex romps.
This was a nasty story, Maya. I heard about this one. This is the police. What city was this in, Yediah?
Colonel McCon, Tennessee, sir.
Tennessee. Ooh, a nasty. Listen, wait till you hear this, Maya. Tell Maya what happened. Go ahead. Just tell me that.
Oh, if I could, sir, it was this she-devil, you know what I mean, that got fired because she was having illicit sexual acts with 6 other different officers, and most of them just happened to be Israel.
This is a Caucasian woman, a cop on the police force, having sex with every black man on the job. All of them. Break it down in specific.
Colonel McCon, sir, they made videos. One of them was called, you know what I mean, Girls Gone Wild in the Hot Tub. They was getting it on.
Police officers were doing in this city. This is what the police officers were doing. Listen, let me tell you, in days like today, it's important to understand that there are certain figures and certain establishments in the black and Hispanic community that you respect, that you idolize. These people are your heroes. The problem is these people are lustful, disgusting, sexual deviants, just like Martin Luther King.
That's right.
We idolize the police force. We idolize politicians. We idolize reverends and Catholic priests. And just like Martin Luther King, these people are sexual deviants. A policeman goes into court with that uniform on. Whatever that cop says, the jury considers to be true. That jury considers anything that comes out of that cop's mouth to be the words of a hero. So now when the cop is lying and you're telling the truth as a citizen, no one believes you. Everyone believes the cop. Why? Because our society idolizes the police force. That Catholic priest, he walks in there with that collar around his neck. As far as you know, that's God on earth. Forget about the reverends and the preachers that your woman will obey, and she's going to leave you because her preacher told her to leave you. Her allegiance is to the preacher in church, not to her family, not to her husband. These different societal authorities of society, my God, we respect them, we love them, we idolize them. They're disgusting perverts. Perverts. Read the story now. The same story, you die. Read it.
Con on the one con, sir. A small Tennessee police station has been rocked by allegations of wild sexual misconduct after a married female officer allegedly had steamy romps
And she's married, Maya. And she's married, you die. Go ahead.
And the husband came out yesterday and said he is sticking by his wife.
Oh, is he black?
Lie.
Oh, thank the Lord for that. He's sticking by his wife.
He probably want to watch.
A lot of people sticking by her. Stuck by her.
He just a fan.
He loves his baby mama. He'll never let her go. That's what DMX said. He'll never let her go. Oh, keep going, you die.
Con on the one con, sir. With 6 male officers, including elect on-duty liaisons, according to reports.
They're doing this on duty, on the clock. They're supposed to be out protecting the community. They're having sex, 6 of them having sex with one white woman.
And the liaison.
And liaisons. Having those nasty sex on the job with 6 people while they're supposed to be working. And now, once again, when this white woman goes into court, everyone will believe everything that comes out of her mouth because she's a cop, right? What's a major incident that proves that is the death of Botham Jean. Give me that story. With Botham Jean, a white woman police officer killed.
A shocking 20-page report has been completed into sexual relationships at the Laverne Police Department. Some happening while officers were on duty and at work.
Doing something while you're at work. I mean, for everybody else who goes to work, we're held to that same standard.
Jerry Howell says he was in disbelief when first reading the report and wants changes from city leaders.
She killed that brother, murdered him. Later on, she got convicted by a jury. And the judge and the bailiff comforted her. Brushed her hair. Give me the hairbrush. Give me when they brushed that white woman's hair who murdered that brother. The way that you think about authority figures in America has got to change. It's got to change. Instead of looking at police officers like they're your savior, instead of looking at preachers and Catholic priests like they're your savior, why don't you change your life so that you can be your own savior? Why don't you change your life and make the corrections in your own personal life so that you can save yourself? God can work with you because God is not working at all with the Catholic priests. He's not with them in any way. They're all false prophets. They're all liars. Meanwhile, you are actually a child of God, and God is waiting to give you authority. He's waiting to raise you up. He's waiting to give you the job to protect your community. But instead, you don't want it. Instead, you idolize a cop, idolize politicians and reverends, and you allow some pervert slut to police your neighborhood because you can't have the courage to correct yourself enough so you can do it. Look at this here, Mayak. This is the white woman, Mayak, who murdered this brother. This is after the conviction. Look, this is a judge. The bitch she came down off of the podium to hug a convicted murderer.
I mean, first, the brother hugged her.
Rewind.
Botham's brother.
This is from American propaganda, just like the love of Martin Luther King. This bitch just murdered his brother. Look at him. He looked at a hug. Oh my God. What that must feel amazing, huh? It must be amazing to be white. I think about it sometimes and like, what is that like? Can you imagine you murder someone and their brother says in court, I just want to hug you. My God, it must be like, you must feel like you're a receptacle for love. Like everyone just pours love into you all the time. They idolize you so much so that when you don't get love, you're offended. And that's where Karens come from.
Exactly.
Because it's like when someone is not moving out the way to please you, it's an offense. Right. That's the brother of the man she murdered and just got convicted of murder. Keep going. Play the video. She's hugging him. Oh, what is this? I hope he's against it, whoever this cat is talking. Or is he for it? This is the judge, Maya. The judge came down and said, listen, save some for me. Y'all, you giving out free hugs? Save some for me, white woman. Ooh, she hugged her so tight. She's the goddamn judge. Okay. And they asked her in the interview, have you ever hugged anyone else? The bitch said no. She has never got off the stand to hug anyone because there was never anyone blonde enough.
Right.
There was never anyone with such striking blue eyes. She had to come down off of that podium to hug her. Show me the bailiff.
A convicted murderer.
A convicted, this is after conviction. A convicted murderer. Ooh, so what a nanny. I think it's a gene built in us over time, Maya, that makes you feel sorry for a white woman and want to comfort white women. And I think I know who we got it from, Martin Luther King. God. I think this is what Martin Luther King built into the psyche of the black community to make us constantly want to serve a crying or tearful or distressed white woman. We have to save her. We have to help her, even if she's a convicted murderer. Give me the bailiff brushing her hair. That one, these are all ridiculous. But that one, Mayaka, was just too much for me. Because you ever been to court or been to jail before? The CO brushing your goddamn hair and helping you is like a ridiculous thought.
God.
Look at this. And she had to answer for that. Is that her? Who was that? She seemed like a slave, whoever that is. I don't know who she is, the convictor of it. But just show me the brushing. What's the point of all of this? The point of all of this is bringing this up on the back of the story about the white woman who had sex with every police officer who was black on her job, did it during work. And this is where this kind of belief comes from, that these people are great and they're wonderful because we look at the uniform and we look at, let's watch movies about cops, watch movies about preachers and, historical footage about Martin Luther King telling a stupid speech that did nothing for black people, that didn't help black people at all. And now we all become people who look good on the outside and inside we're perverts. Just like the police force, just like preachers, just like the Catholic priests who molest boys, and just like Martin Luther King. Look at this. Oh, there it is up top. Come on with me. It's right there. Let me see. Oh, yeah, it's that there. It's that. I'll show it to you in 1 second. What else do you have after this up? I don't think this is the one. Fast forward. This is it. That's it. Oh my God! Why does that bother me so? This one especially. I mean, somehow that one is just troubling to me. This is after the conviction. Look at her. Well, she came over there. Come on, let me get you right, Miss Messy. Let me get you right, Miss.
You can't go in there looking like this.
You can't go in there looking like that. Let me get you right. Let me help you. Black people should have been embarrassed for this to come on national TV. They should have been absolutely embarrassed for this coming. Look at this bitch doing this to that slut's hair. Can you imagine how many liaisons that nasty woman has had? She done liaisons her tail all over the precinct. And meanwhile, she gets in court, is a murderer now, right. A convicted murderer, and a black woman brushes her hair. Why did they brush her hair? Because she was white. And because Martin Luther King taught us the entire legacy of Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King's legacy is one legacy and one legacy only. loving white people while they hurt you. That is it. His movement amounted to that, and it's a giant movement if you look at it through those lenses. He really taught a vast number of black people to love white people, especially when they're hurting you.
Okay.
Meaning, if they hurt you, that's when you have to hug them.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you got to go brush the hair. That's when you have to come down off the bench. That judge, Botham Jean's brother, and the bailiff were just trying to do what they thought Martin Luther King would want them to do. Martin Luther King's legacy is not in supporting black businesses and bringing freedom to the ghetto. I don't know what happened to all that toilet seat garbage, all of that black toilet, white toilet, black water fountain, white water fountain nonsense, when there are no black bathrooms, period. There is nowhere you can go to the bathroom anywhere in a black neighborhood at all. They're all carryouts. You can't use the damn bathroom in a carryout. They don't let you use the bathroom. We don't have any businesses at all. Brother, I went down there to Oakland, California recently, and I went into, the hood of Oakland, California. And you should have saw, how terrible this place was, Maya. Homeless people everywhere. It was like a movie. It was so many of them everywhere, under tents everywhere. And I looked out there and I say, well, this is the civil rights movement of the 60s, right? This is it. This is what all the effing marching was for. To end up here, and the Chinese own the entire place. And in that, Oakland is the same as every city I go to. It's no different. Homeless people everywhere. Black people poor and getting high. The Chinese and the Japanese own all the businesses. That could be any place. That could be any city, USA. That's the legacy of the civil rights movement. Yeah. So I know Martin Luther King didn't do anything to help the black community, because the black community is terrible, poor and suffering and disenfranchised. But I know he did one thing. He taught us to love white people, especially when they hurt you. And that worked. Right. He was an absolute success at doing that, Mayak.
That's them sit-ins. Like, while you getting spit on, you sitting at the damn counter, they telling you, no niggas, get out. You don't get out. I just want some eggs, miss. I just want some eggs. They spit in your face and punch you in the mouth. You know they spitting in your food. And we end up making them rich now. Now, their businesses are thriving and ours don't exist, like you said.
And Martin Luther King, he was such a snake, and he was a pervert and a homosexual, according to the Abernathy. According to his best friend Abernathy, Martin Luther King sucked male penises. That's straight up out of Abernathy's mouth. Hate to use that word, but that's where it came from. Out his mouth. God. Abernathy, who was a close confidant of Martin Luther King, said that he sucked penises. It's in his book that he sucked penises. All of us follow Martin Luther King. We're all, closet deviants, but outwardly we're so loving, especially when it's talking about a white person, and especially a cruel white person who has hurt us. That's the one we have to love the most. That's the only lasting legacy of Martin Luther King. Nothing else exists. There's no freedom. There's no justice. There's nothing at all that exists of the work of Martin Luther King, except a white cop being able to murder you, and the black family is going to hug you. The black judge is going to comfort you, and the black bailiff is going to brush your hair. Even though you're having sex with everyone on your job. 1 second. We just going over that story about that white woman who had sex with 6 black men on her job during the work time.
That was a cop too.
That was a cop.
Dang.
During the work time, and her husband said he's going to stick by her.
Of course.
He's still with her, and we were relating that back to the story of Botham Jean, how that white woman was a police officer, murdered Botham Jean, got convicted with a black judge, black bailiffs, and Botham Jean's black brothers took the stand.
Yep.
Hugged the white woman. The judge came off the stand to give her sugar and
her
hugs,
hair.
and the bailiff stroked her hair, made sure her hair wasn't messy. That's the legacy of Martin Luther King. He did nothing else, but he did that. Well, he did something to black people where, because he got killed, it was like now for him, you had to love the cruelest white people because it was for him. And then in some way he twisted it and made it like it was for Jesus. Like now it's like
it was God's will.
Yeah, like it was God's will to love the most cruel and hateful white people. And that is his lasting legacy. And that he was a success in. Because that's the reason that they think that Commanding General Yohanna and the I.S.U.P.K, that's why you think we're a hate group.
That's right.
We don't harm anybody. We don't kill anybody. We don't break any laws of the land at all. But you call us a hate group because we don't talk and act like Martin Luther King. That's why we're a hate group. We won't brush a white murderer's hair.
No.
We won't do that. We won't come off the stand and hug her and kiss her. And because we won't love the cruelest of all white people, you call us hateful. Because we decide to love the victim and not the predator. Because we decide to love the people who have been hurt instead of loving the people who victimize everyone else. We're a hate group. We're terrible and we're evil because you compare everyone to Martin Luther King. He's the standard. And here's the problem. He was a disgusting pervert. And you should follow nothing that Martin Luther King does anytime you want, sir.
I mean, what you're saying is so heavy in that. And here's what was so evil about the entire civil rights movement. Okay, it was right to try to do whatever was necessary to get free. Marching never works. I ain't mad at him. You know what I mean? You want to march? March. Getting beat up and brutalized and allowing them women to get dragged into jail and raped and exposed before men and have men, tons of men who got maimed and injured. That was wrong. It was wrong to do that. It was wrong to go sit into those lunch counters and be abused by white people so that Woolworths could last for another 100 years, making money off of blacks and Latinos. All of that was wrong, but that's just on the carnal level. Let's get spiritual on the level of the Lord. Here's why it was so evil. Because it is exactly the philosophy of Martin Luther King, okay, was the exact opposite of what the Lord said to do in the Bible. It was the exact opposite. Who can give me that scripture where the Lord said, on which mountain hast thou not lain? Or which Nate, you know, Jeremiah 3, get that for me, please. You understand? Like it was the exact opposite of what the Lord told us to do. And it's why we're in slavery today. And not only why we're in slavery, but it's also why every nation is able to eat us alive. Every nation. Because they beat the spirit out of us to stand up for ourselves and to be part of our nation and stand for our nation. So now everybody can come here. It's like once you put on that Martin Luther King philosophy, every nation can come in and rob and rape you to death because you got to love everybody. Because you got to be open to everybody. And not only that, you also, if you take on that same philosophy, you also got to be open to every sexual deviance as well. You got to be open to LGBTQ. You got to be open to homosexuality. You got to be open to every sexual deviance that they come up with. Now watch, give them a little bit of time. They're gonna break down them laws about pedophilia because there's so many of them in this country from the Roman Catholic Church that they're gonna eventually break down that law and say, well, if you eat, they're gonna come up with something and have that pedophile law in place. And when they do, you're gonna accept it. You're going to accept it. Why? Because you accepting all those other LGBTQ, that. You accept all of them because you can't turn none of them down. Because you can't turn the nations down. Because you got Martin Luther King's philosophy in your mind, which is totally against the Lord. Okay, you checking it? Oh, you want to double check it? Check it right quick. All right. You know what I mean? Let me know if that's the one you got. Because, brother, the Lord said we laid on every mountain. You understand? We laid with every mountain, every nation. Give me all the scriptures on that, man. Where we joined every nation. Where we tied ourselves to everybody. And because of it, we destroy. And you hate us and look at the Israelite school UPK because we the ones that say you doing the wrong thing. You doing the wrong thing. Black people, Latinos, oh my God. Native Indians, your life is wiped out. And let me tell you something else too, if I could. The empire is amazing. The empire is amazing because if you turned on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, you would think blacks and Latinos and Native Indians are having a wonderful life. You would think that they are having an exceptional life in this empire. If you turn that on, if you turn on WeTV or A&E or some of them other channels that totally dedicate themselves to our content, you will believe that our lives are amazing. You will believe that Martin Luther King is a success story. They just dedicated another statue to him. They had another statue they dedicated to him. Your live, they removed your access on TikTok. Y'all trying, but I think this content is just too mean for TikTok. You know what I'm saying? They mad as hell. You got what I'm looking for?
I believe so.
Throw it in there.
Jeremiah 3:1.
Go ahead.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 3 and verse 1. They say if a man put away his wife and she go from him.
Oh, this is good.
Go ahead. And become another man's. Shall he return unto her again?
Right, because everybody knows, even in today's society, the normal thing is if your wife commit adultery, you divorce her. Even in the world. You don't got to be into the scriptures to know that that's common. It's common, right or wrong. People in the world, people in the church, people in the mosque, people in the Hare Krishna, Buddha, whatever. You sleep with another man's woman, or that woman go sleep with another man, you divorce her. You leave her. Go ahead.
Khan, sir. Shall not the land be greatly polluted?
Shall not the land be greatly polluted? Meaning you done destroyed your marriage when that woman done went and slept with somebody else. But give me what the Lord has to say about it.
Khan, sir. But thou hast played the harlot with many lovers.
You hear what the Lord said? But you played the harlot with many lovers. That is exactly against the philosophy of Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King wanted us to love all nations, bow down and be abused by every nation. When the Lord said, you have played the harlot with many nations, every nation that wants to come in the black community and get rich, they're able to do it. And if anybody stop them, black people will stop you. Go in the Latino neighborhood, be a heathen, set up a business, and let some Latino come up and say, this ain't right. You shouldn't be making money off of my people. What are the Latinos going to do? They'll be the one to beat you up. They'll be the one to shut you down. Why? Because you turned around and went against the philosophy of Martin Luther King. Somebody get me the other scripture where Christ said, what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, where Christ said they receive tribute in the New Testament. We remember that? Somebody else get it. You stay with me.
Khan, sir. Yet return again to me, saith the Lord.
No, come on, give me every word.
Khan. Yet return again to me.
Go up above it. Come on, read it. Come on, get it all.
Khan, sir, from the top, sir.
No, from where you played the harlot.
Khan. But thou hast played the harlot with many lovers.
Go ahead.
Yet return again to me.
That's the word I was looking for. Yet return. Go ahead.
Khan. Yet return again to me.
Yet return again to me. You done went and hoed. Now your wife done went out and committed adultery. She come back to you. You be looking at her like, well, what you want, hoe? You done went out and slept around. They have some new videos out. I saw on TikTok where cats was catching their wives having sex, and then the wife come back, and one cat locked the door on her, threw her stuff out the window. Another cat shut the door. She crying, banging on the door, trying to get back with him. He said, the hell with you, man. You done went and slept around. That's normal behavior. Well, you the wife of God. You the Lord's wife. Hypothetically speaking, you the Lord's woman. And he said you went out and played the harlot with every nation. That's MLK Day. That's what has poisoned us to our gut. We are poisoned with that idea and philosophy. And he himself, please, Mariah, I know you got the tape where he said he regret. Come on, give it to me.
Khan, verse 2. Lift up thy eyes unto the high places.
Lift up your eyes to the high places. America, Saudi Arabia, you flying to Dubai, hoeing with them, trying to be with them. Letting every Arab from anywhere can come in the black community and give you the Arab salute. And before you know it, he's in your neighborhood eating you alive. Forget about Esau. You think that's God. You think the white man coming to fix your plumbing is Jesus. You think Jesus coming to fix your plumbing pipes. Well, nigga, he robbing you for $300. You think he coming to fix your plumbing pipe. The Lord said, this has been our problem. Been our problem. And you know what's amazing about me? What's amazing to me about it? You gangster niggas, man. Y'all gangsters. You out there in the street. You so keen to make sure you get your money. I hear you in your songs. You take no mess. I'm coming back to you, Dad. You take no mess. You ain't about none of that, all that. You got your gap. You got what they call the clip now. They got a name for it.
Banana?
Huh? Yeah.
The magazine, the banana?
What? Huh? No, they got another name for it. There's another new slang I heard. I couldn't believe it. Of when they got the pistol with the long clip in it.
Oh, yeah.
A switch.
Switch. Who said that? Somebody. Oh, who's somebody online with us? Hey, big
That's
shout out.
Captain
Hey, what's
Desire,
going on,
Salaki,
Captain?
sir.
What's going on, Mighty
Yeah,
Man?
what's going on, sir?
Like you got a damn right. The switch. That's it. I heard that on a song. I had to ask one of the brothers, what is that? What is he talking about? He said, oh, you talking about the magazine. Like you all that gangster. But every nation could come in here and rob your people blind. Matter of fact, you robbing them too. You robbing and doping up your people, and you ain't saying a damn thing to nobody else outside of your people. You extorting, shaking down, blocking, and you got no heart. That Martin Luther King is in your gangster ass too. You gangster till the MLK demon come. Yeah. That MLK demon ain't no doors locking him out. He walked right all up in the meeting about killing your next brother. You understand? It's a mess, and it's all because of this demonic spirit, man. Go ahead, give me a little bit more passive floor back on to y'all, man.
Khan, sir. And see where thou has not been lain with.
Right. Who didn't you lay with? Who didn't you give your soul to? Who do you stop? Who does the black community say, this group over here, we don't mess with them because they robbing us? Who? That's what the Lord is asking. Who do you stop ever from wiping out black people? That's why I'm stressed every night. I'm stressed every night. I don't halfway sleep like I should. None of that. And the reason why is because I don't see you standing up and defending this nation. If it wasn't for these brothers in the I.S.U.P.K, and wouldn't nobody stand up and protect you from them. And even the ones who claim to protect you from the nations that's eating you alive, they still open the door. The Muslim will stop niggas from mishandling certain things, but if it's a Muslim, oh my God, if it's an Arab, he coming in. Even some Christian groups will stop some things, but if it's the white Jesus now, he coming in. This is a big part of what's wrong with us, man. No nation allows you to do that. No nation. I'm going to read it to you on what Christ said. Christ gave it to us clearly. Couple more minutes, y'all. Give you the floor right back. Sure. Come on with it, Doc.
Khan,
is there more than that?
Khan, sir.
Finish that. Come on.
Khan, sir. In the ways hast thou sat for them.
Right. And in the ways you sat for them. You know what it means is you sat for them? It means you sat there and listened. Like you took in what they said and followed it. You sat for them. You didn't stand up against them. You sat down. You heard their philosophy. You heard their poison, and you put it inside you. This is the problem with black people. And here's why you get confused. Because you see the civil rights movement, and you see it like, man, they was fighting. They was standing up. They was protesting. But you didn't realize that really they were fighting for you to join your slave master. That's what they was fighting for. Now I'm going to show you Christ's real take, because you don't know Christ. You think he's a white dude that love everybody. Give me the other scripture I asked for, Mom. Or you can give it to you got it already? It's up to you.
Matthew 17:24.
Let's read that, and then if you could just give me what MLK said, man, and I'm going to get up off the pot on this here. Hold that for a second for me. This is so important to your life, black people, Latino people, Native Indian people. You got something wrong with you. You're a love junkie for the other nations, man. You're a love junkie for the other nations. Don't know where you go where black people say, nah, man, we don't keep them in here, man. Even white people who got the worst record in the world against you. You ain't got no problem with that. And let me tell you something. I used to be shocked. I was shocked when I started seeing videos on the border of Mexicans who were born in America mad and angry at illegal immigrants. But I shouldn't have been shocked. They wanted to try. I should have known. Any other nation, you ain't never going to see that. You ain't never going to go to somebody's border with China and see Chinese people born in that foreign country telling Chinese immigrants to get the hell out the country. You ain't never going to see them turn on their own people. Koreans, Chinese, Arabs, East Indians, you ain't never going to see them do that. But you 12 tribes, that's the first one you turn on is your brother. First one you hate is the nigga standing next to you, man. With all your gangsterism. And this MLK, this should be internationally taught about how evil it is. Come on out, because I'm eating up all y'all time. Come on with it.
Con, Matthew chapter 17 and verse 24.
Listen to Christ. Listen to the King of Israel that died on the cross for you to get a kingdom. He didn't go with Martin Luther King's philosophy. Get it to me,
Con, Matthew chapter 17 and verse 24. And when they were come to Capernaum,
come on,
they that received tribute money came to Peter.
These were Israelites, black men that was there, and they received money when you come to their city. And they stood up against Peter. They ain't stepped to Christ. They were scared of him. Christ wasn't no joke. He wasn't no sissy like you think he was. They were scared to death of him. So they went to they could see Peter was his number one man. They slid over to him and said, yo, man, you know, why your master don't pay like everybody else pay? Why he just defying us? They was beefing with him. Why? Because they was the men of that city and they got paid. You in every city repping every neighborhood. You from this town and you holding this down. And we smokes every nigga that come to this town. You holding all kind of blocks, ain't receiving nothing. Let a 90-year-old woman come out there at 3 in the morning on your crack block. You gonna run from that bitch. You gonna get back. Because you're gonna be scared to death the minute you see her white skin on your block. But you'll kill another black man at the drop of a dime and sing about it, nigga. MLK bullshit. Excuse my French. Read.
Con. Doeth not your master pay tribute?
Don't your master pay tribute? Don't Christ pay like everybody else? Check out what your king said. Go ahead,
Con, verse 25. He saith, yes. And when he was come into the house, Jesus prevented him, saying,
Christ stopped him at the door. Why? Because Peter misspoke. He said, yeah, like he was going to pay him. When Christ ain't never say he was paying nobody. Because Christ understood it, but he was peaceful. Go ahead,
Con, sir. What thinkest thou, Simon? Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom?
Who do the kings take custom from? Come on.
Con, or tribute of their own children or of strangers.
Right. Do they take money from their own children or from strangers? Boy, let me tell you something, Mark. You could say what the hell you want to say. The Bible is the greatest book that was ever laid down to mankind on the face of the earth. If you don't understand that, it's because you don't understand the book and you have not been taught because you have not allowed the prophets in the I.S.U.P.K to teach you. Brother, what he is saying here is a mouthful on how your society should run. He said the kings don't take money from their own people. Nigga, if you robbing black people, you's a sucker. If you selling dope to your own, you a sucker. You ain't no boss. You ain't no king. You a slave, nigga. He said the kings of the earth take tribute of other nations. You let the other nations rob and extort you in your own land. That's what you do. MLK philosophy. Damn that. I really follow Jesus Christ. The white man is the devil the Bible speaks of and will always be, brother. Long as he's sitting up over the top of me, getting money out of me and my people, I got to watch my old ladies starve. I got to watch my old men fall into a bottle because they busted and broke because this man done took everything from them. And you telling me you a gangster, nigga? Join my army, nigga. I'll show you who to fight for.
That's right.
Finish it for me, you dying.
Come on, sir. Kana Wakan. Verse 26. Peter saith unto him, of strangers. Jesus saith unto him, then are the children free.
Then are the children. I love this scripture. I love it. I love this scripture. I'm going to put this shit on a plaque. Watch. He said, then are the children free. Christ said, know the truth, and it'll make you free. And freedom is everything, man. Not freedom to be a dumb, silly Negro believing in MLK and sleeping with white girls. That ain't the freedom Christ died for. You think he went on the cross so you can fuck a white girl? Excuse my French. That's what you think he died for, dumb? He died so no man could ever extort your grandmother again. So no pimp could never get in the pulpit and swindle your whole black community. So ain't no nation come up in here and sell you your own food and water. That's what he died for. He was the ultimate warrior. He was not no Martin Luther King fan. What Martin Luther King taught was satanic. And demonic. To where when they robbed us blind, he found it out. Marab, play it so I can get off these brothers' platform, man, stealing all this time.
I don't see the answer to our problem in riots. So my slogan is not burn, baby, burn. My slogan is build, baby, build. Organize, baby, organize. Learn, baby, learn so that you can earn, baby, earn. That's my slogan.
That one up there on the right.
One day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
Go right there.
That dream that I had that day has in many points turned into a night.
Right back a little bit, because there's a part where he says the words, I regret it.
I have a dream.
Everybody can see
I must confess that that dream that I had that day has in many points turned into a nightmare.
Come on!
Now, I'm not one to lose hope. I keep on hoping. I still have faith in the future.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. But let me say this, I just want to say this. Martin Luther King and this mistake of civil rights is one of the greatest lessons we could learn in this captivity. Everybody could go home and hear that. Let me let you finish it. I'm done. Finish that part, and I'm off of it.
To analyze many things over the last few years, and I would say over the last few months. I've gone through a lot of soul-searching and agonizing moments, and I've come to see that we have many more difficult days ahead, and some of the old optimism was a little superficial, and now it must be tempered with a solid realism. And I think the realistic fact is that we still have a long, long way to go, and that we are involved in a war on Asian soil, which, if not checked and stopped, can poison the very soul of our nation. I'm not going to say that all of our problems will be solved if the war in Vietnam is ended, but I do say that the war makes it infinitely more difficult to deal with.
You can pause it. That's it on that. Can I just, one last thing? This was in the New York Post on January 15th. Here's what it says. Woke $10 million MLK penis statue insults black community and Coretta Scott King is in the stories. I got it now. Let me read it. Even some kin of Coretta Scott King hate the new $10 million sculpture just dedicated to her and her iconic civil rights leader husband in Boston, with a cousin claiming it looks like a penis. The massive bronze statue, and it's horrible. It's horrible. Listen, they took the statue of him hugging and then removed the head off of the statue and had the head It looks like a rod. It looks like somebody's sexual perversion. Go ahead, you guys. Lock it.
If I may, sir, I have an article and a quote that was sent for me by General Mayak, sir.
Please.
Out of the memoir. It says in his 1991 memoir, Breaking Barriers, journalist Carl Rowan writes that in 1964, Congressman John Rooney told him that he and his congressional committee had J. Edgar Hoover play an audio tape of an apparent orgy held in King's Washington Hotel suite. Over the sounds over a couple having intercourse in the background, according to Rooney, King could be heard saying to a man identified as Abernathy.
I don't see why not.
Shalom.
Salakia. Come over here, you. This is Dr. Martin Luther King. Dr. Martin Luther King. Come over here, you big black motherfucker, and let me suck your dick.
Let me tell you something. That is the reason that they do not let those tapes out. Because they know if they let those tapes out, black people will wake up to the reality that this was all a hustle. That this was a horrible, disgusting hustle that brainwashed you from top to bottom. Cap, now I see you in there, Cap. You got to come on in here. Now I know you got something to say about that, Captain Tazariak.
Oh, about Martin? That's Orgy Mike. That's what we call him. We call him Orgy Mike. So when I saw that statue, it looked like, and they did like a poll on Clubhouse because we did a room. Me and Cap Mawquad, he wanted to do a room on MLK. When you look at it, it looked like a man's face is in something. That's all I'm gonna say. That's how it looked when I look at the.
Listen, you're right. It looks like he's holding up. Like, why isn't that the head down there?
So that's what it looked like. Salakia, sir. And then like it was good the room that we did today, sir. And Captain Quad is here too. Like he's in the I believe he's on the stage with us as well.
Okay.
As
Shalom. Shalom, General Yabashim Yashabakatah.
To all y'all
sir.
on that clubhouse.
Yes, sir. Most High in Christ, sir. And Captain Quad was breaking down. He was talking about the Big Six that Malcolm X spoke about, where they would get the civil rights leaders to turn the tide of black people if ever they, wanted to rebel. We spoke about Martin with his first girlfriend was that white woman in college, and he switched it up when he wanted to be a civil rights leader, so it would look more better if he had a black wife. So we was kind of going into all those things when we was talking about it earlier today with Martin Luther King said.
And that $10 million statue they just built, that wasn't for black people because black people done long left the building. That was for white people. That's for white people to focus on what they need to focus on when they angry and hate black people. That's to get them to think Martin Luther King said we got to love everybody because black people already love them. They don't need a statue for black people to love them, but they need a statue for white people because white people would like to slaughter us if they had the chance. So lock it. Go ahead, Cat.
Sorry, sir. That was all I was adding to it, sir. Just that part.
Come. Anybody else up in there what you want to chime in? Chime in now, please.
Also, sir, that quote about I fear I have integrated my people into a burning house. That's in written form. That was an article.
Okay.
An interview. You can probably read it, but there's no video of it.
Okay. Well,
it was an interview.
Right. But you know who did do a video on it? The singer, the Benjamin singer that worked with him.
Yeah, what's his
Harry Belafonte?
Harry Belafonte. There is a tape of Harry Belafonte confirming that he said that. Confirming that he said it. They knew what they had messed up. Once that integration came, I mean, almost immediately, the poverty that black people slipped into after that was ridiculous. Because again, just imagine if you had all black businesses because black people and Latino people had no choice but to go to black businesses. And then all of a sudden, overnight, the doors are wide open to every white business, which you always looked at as better than the black one. Where did all the black people go? Overnight, white people got rich. Overnight, white people got wealth. And black people slipped totally into poverty. They were already in poverty. They went into a worse poverty the minute integration came in. They went into a worse poverty. And then, of course, he sat up there looking stupid, talking about that dream has turned into a nightmare. It was a nightmare from the beginning. And it wasn't a nightmare because of the people beating up the people and them going to jail. It was a nightmare because once they integrated, they acted like white people would, because they passed the civil rights law, white people was going to love black people now. Like white people was going to start coming to black businesses. Like white people was going to start hiring black people more. Instead, the only thing happened was that you sent all the black people to the white businesses and wiped out the black businesses. And that still goes on to today. Go ahead, Op.
Salaki, General, if I could, it's Captain Marquardt.
Go ahead, Cap.
Yeah, I just wanted to say what you're bringing out so heavy. I don't know if you remember my beloved grandmother that you did the interview with down in Atlanta.
Most definitely.
About the tragedy that what happened. But when they moved up, when my family moved up to Chicago, my great grandfather, my grandmother's father, he had in the 50s, he had a mattress business. Okay. You understand, in the 50s and early 60s. And like what you're saying is so true. That mattress business went out of business because of integration.
There you go.
And he had 6 sons. And when that mattress business went out of business, they should have inherited that business.
Yep.
But because of integration, they didn't have any business to inherit. So because of it, all 6 of my grandmother's brothers end up doing damn near life in prison. You know what I'm saying? They turned into some of the most hardcore pimps on the south side of Chicago. This was known throughout my family all the way to my generation, to where we wanted to be like them. I remember growing up and saying, well, they was known as pimps and hustlers, and everybody in my family, older cousins and all, wanted to emulate who they had become due to the fact that the poverty turned them into hardened criminals. And I just wanted to bring that out.
He's talking about Martin Luther King.
Brother, let me tell you something. If I could, that was so heavy in this respect. It was that what you said was so heavy, because when you go back into the ancient world, most children became what their father was. You understand? They became whatever trade and business their father was. The children joined the trade. Like what was supposed to happen is this. All 6 of those sons were supposed to open up mattress businesses like their father, and had learned from their father. And all the young kids in the neighborhood were supposed to want a mattress business like them. Instead, they got cut off and went to pimping to survive, and then turned that into what everybody wanted to become. Tell you another quick story. 52nd Street and Market Street in Philadelphia. Brother, 52nd Street and Market Street in Philadelphia, run by black people. That same strip was run, it was nothing but black businesses all the way down 52nd Street in both directions. All of their children was destined to take over those businesses. And then the crack era came and wiped out all of their kids. And then the Arabs came and bought up all their businesses. And then the mosque got set up. And now the Arab children's run all of the stores on 52nd Street. And the black people got a couple barbershops, and that's about it. Maybe a beauty salon. The rest of the businesses all run by the Arabs. It's like a Muslim neighborhood now, when it was never a Muslim neighborhood. It was a black neighborhood. And now that neighborhood is wiped out. And the legacy of those people are wiped out. Those people had restaurants, nightclubs, shoe stores, all kind of furniture stores. They had all kind of businesses. And it all got wiped out. And you telling me integration is what we're supposed to do? What you saying, Marquardt, is bringing out is so important. It's so important because, listen, anybody that cares about blacks and Latinos and Native Indians and could see they suffering, and I'm one of them. I could see your suffering when I look at you. Anybody that cares and sees your suffering would also wonder, where did it come from? How did you get there? What is holding you back from going forward? And this Martin Luther King philosophy is a big one. A big one. Go on and
One more
play it.
thing, General.
Go ahead, Doc.
Salaki, General, just one more thing. Another interesting thing my grandmother told me was that it wasn't just her father that had a business. She said all the black men in the community had their own businesses.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? It wasn't just her father. She said that was the common thing for everybody up and down the block had their own business. And what's sad is that a lot of these businesses that when you ride up Chicago and a lot of these different cities where we had black businesses, a lot of these places been boarded up since the 60s.
Yeah.
You ain't looking at businesses that's been boarded up since the 80s or 90s. These businesses been boarded up since the 60s.
Yeah.
You looking at a building that, so that was it, General Salaki.
You listen, you right. You lucky if it's a building there. Most of the time it's just a lot with rubble and bricks in it. You lucky if it's a business there. And let me tell you something else too. And here's why the legacy of Martin Luther King was so evil in this respect and so against the Bible in this respect. Because even if you say to black people, well, look, we messed up with the civil rights movement and now our businesses is wiped out. Let's go build our businesses back. Here's the problem. That's a fine. So even if you went back and opened up every last one of those businesses, if Esau came and sent $1 trillion and gave everybody back the businesses that they stole, you would still go right back out of business because blacks and Latinos would not buy from your business. Why? Because of the Martin Luther King philosophy. They hate you now and love their slave master. They've turned against you now. So even if a Negro opened up a mattress store tomorrow, hot chance that he's successful with that mattress store because they go into the Arabs. They go into the so-called Jew to sell mattresses. He sell mattresses, sofas, everything. They go into him because why? MLK philosophy in their mind. So you got it worse than just losing the physical business. It's also in their spirit. Give me the scripture on Martin Luther King.
I got the thing for you if you want it. The burning house.
Oh, yeah, please. Let's play it. Let's play it. And then give me that last scripture and I'm going to get up off of y'all chime in. Go ahead. Let's do it. Harry Belafonte, who saw the mess that they had created. Him being a part of it. Go ahead.
Deeply concerned that I suspect we're leading our nation on an integration trip that has us integrating into a burning house.
No, that's it. That's it. Go back. Where did you start at?
And I sit here.
You went back too far.
Deeply concerned.
Yeah, go. Okay.
That I suspect.
Go back because he should be.
We're leading our nation.
Martin Luther King said he was
on an integration trip that has us
back a little bit.
Integrating, reflected in what we've come to call the integration movement. And I sit here deeply concerned that I suspect we're leading our nation on an integration trip that has us integrating into a burning house. I don't think we quite understood how pathetic that remark was. After all, we're in the midst of a very heady moment.
There it is. He said it to Harry Belafonte. Harry Belafonte was part of the civil rights movement. And he turned around and said to him, look, man, that was one of his trusted advisors. Yeah. Right or wrong. He turned around and said to him, man, I don't know, man. I think we made a mistake here. We didn't integrate because after he got gassed up by the White House and went down the road to integration and abused and killed and got incarcerated and destroyed the lives of all those black people, then they realized these people ain't gonna love us after we join them. They ain't gonna love us. Nobody does that. And on top of that, Martin Luther King himself said that he followed the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi. He didn't say I follow the philosophy of Christ. It's on tape. He said he followed the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi. And let me explain something to you. Mahatma Gandhi was not a nonviolent person, man. They started their revolution violently. And then he put on the robes, getting off the English clothes. And on top of that, he was cruel and evil to his people once they got control. He was cruel and evil towards his people once he got control. Anybody reading the story and the history on Mahatma Gandhi would never pattern their struggle for their own people after him, man. But Martin Luther King did, man. Martin Luther King did. And Esau used him. This white man used him out to bring us into utter poverty. And he brought us into utter poverty and rose his empire up greatly. If he had not done that and we had stayed on the path we on, we'd be two nations right now. There'd be Black America and white America. Both equally powerful, if not us more powerful than them. Instead, we integrated with them and got wiped the hell out. Got wiped out economically and spiritually. Slack it.
And also, sir, you know, we have that and we have Martin Luther King saying out his own mouth that I fear my dream has become a nightmare. That he said.
He said himself.
He said that. It's you can go look it up on YouTube. I think we had it a second ago. You can grab that video for Commander General Yohanna if I could, where he said, my dream has become a nightmare. Here's the truth of the Martin Luther King movement. About 2 years after he said that I have a dream speech, he regretted the entire civil rights movement.
Yeah.
He thought it was a mistake.
Yeah.
He thought he made a mistake. He was not thinking clearly. You can play the one with the start of the mark right here. This is it.
One day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
I must confess that that dream that I had that day has in many points turned into a nightmare.
That's right.
Now, I'm not one to lose hope. I keep on hoping. I still have faith in the future.
Now we should be able to move on from this.
Yes.
As a people. He moved on. You see how the first video was in black and white. The second one was in color because it's later on.
Yeah.
A few years went by. They invented color television.
Yeah.
Time went by. He thought on it and he said, my dream has become in many points as a nightmare. He told Harry Belafonte around the exact same time, I fear I have integrated my people into a burning house. Martin Luther King thought the integration movement was a mistake. He thought it was a mistake. We still held on to it when he did not hold on to it. And if I could back up Captain Mawquad, sir, let me give you something that is really inarguable. This point I'm about to tell you, there's no way to argue that it's not true. Give me the video I just showed you about the unemployment in America. I want to check this out. I remember, I know you know, sir, back in the day when they went to the Iraqi war, they were saying that Iraqis were becoming terrorists so much because they were unemployed.
Right.
They didn't have jobs, so they were becoming terrorists.
Right.
17-year-old, 18-year-old Iraqi boy, he was going to be a terrorist because he had no job. After the January 6th riots, they did more studies, and they said white men have high unemployment rates.
Damn.
So now white men are upset, angry, and they have no job, and they storm the Capitol. Check this out, sir. This is an article from 2021. Please put it on the screen again. Pull it over so I can read it. Drag it over a tape so I can see what that first word is.
Oh, okay.
I think it's surging. Okay, you can't see it. Does everyone else see it?
No, it's off on both TVs.
Oh, hey, again? You can read it. Can they see it? The people that okay, go ahead and read it then.
Rising unemployment rates likely to cause violent unrest in the U.S., leading macroeconomic influences.
They knew that if unemployment does not go down, there's going to be violence. This is something everyone knows, that if young people don't have jobs, they're going to become violent. Do you know what that means, Captain Mawquad? Do you know what that means, brothers in Chicago, brothers in Los Angeles? Martin Luther King started the gangs. The gangs come from Martin Luther King.
That's right.
Think of every murder with the Crips and the Bloods, the Vice Lords, The gangster disciples, the black disciples. I wonder around what time all of that really kicked off.
In the 60s.
Let me guess, the 60s. In the 60s, that's when the gangs got gigantic after the death of Martin Luther King. They rioted. No one had a job because Martin Luther King gave your businesses to white people, because his philosophy was the crueler that white people are, you be nicer to them. So when white people wanted your businesses, you give them your businesses. 2 years later, he knew that was a mistake. Martin Luther King started the Crips, the Bloods, the gangster disciples, the vice lords, black crime, black on black crime, the violence in the black community. White people say that white people are more violent when they don't have jobs. Everyone is more, you're 18. You're 18, you're full of strength, you have ambitions, but you have no possible path to get a job. You're going to come together with other brothers just like you with no job, and you'll find other work to do. Please believe that.
That's right.
You'll find something to do. White men did it. White men went out and go down and burn the Capitol down and break in. Why? Because they were poor. They're living in trailer parks. They don't have any jobs, and they're physically strong and young. And they're going to do violence. Scientists do studies on this.
Yep.
If they don't have unemployment, there's going to be violence. Martin Luther King gave the black community, every business in the black community, to white people. Because of that, we didn't have jobs. From the 60s on, we've been in gangs. Martin Luther King caused the gang epidemic in America.
It wasn't any riots before that. The riots started after the civil rights movement. Then you had Watts and everything else. It started burning up the whole damn country over it. You understand? Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. Thank God we awake on it. One last scripture. Give me that scripture on the Lord, where the Lord brought it out.
God of Wakan, sir.
Give me Jeremiah.
God of Wakan, sir. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 23 and verse 25. I have heard what the prophet said, that prophesy lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed. I have dreamed.
And that is exactly what he is. A prophet that prophesied lie. He had a dream. And he himself said that dream turned into a nightmare. And it's been a nightmare ever since. False prophet and a dream that was a damn lie. That's it. What else we dealing with, y'all?
If I could.
Go ahead, Doc.
Salakia, sir. This is Officer Dawada.
Go ahead, Dawada.
I kind of the one kind, sir. I know Martin Luther King also had he received some kind of award for the Margaret Sanger, and you know she was known for wanting to exterminate Negroes.
You mean to tell me that her organization actually gave him an award?
Kind of one concept. If I can read this article in the time.com.
Go ahead, Doc.
It says, this is Margaret Sanger, in quote, out quote. It says, we do not want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And then it says, and the minister is the man who can straighten out the idea if it ever occurs to any of their more rebellious members.
Right. He's the one that can cool it out.
Right, kind of the one concert, and then it drops down right here to where it gets talking about Martin Luther King. It says in 1966, Martin Luther King Jr. made clear that he agreed that Sanger's life work was anything but inhumane. In 1966, when King received Planned Parenthood's Margaret Sanger Award in Human Rights, he praised her contributions to the Black community.
Imagine that. What a whore. What a hoe. He actually accepted and stood on a Margaret Sanger Award, the precursor to Planned Parenthood, a genocidal sociopath that believed in killing off children of blacks and Latinos. And he accepted that award. Insane. Go ahead, Dawada.
Kind of one concert, and it continues. It says he continued to say, there is a striking kinship between our movement and Margaret Sanger's early efforts, he said. Margaret Sanger had to commit what was then called a crime in order to enrich humanity. And today we honor her courage and vision.
And today, that whole legacy of Margaret Sanger is carried on by Bill Gates. Bill Gates's mother was part of that, or father, one of them, was part of that eugenics movement. Bill Gates, right now, one of the richest men in the world, is part of the eugenics movement. That's why he's talking all this depopulation and lowering the population and bringing down the numbers, because he's a part of that same organization. And this turncoat, this slave, this traitor to God's people integrated us right into their world and wiped us out. I'd give him an award too if I was a eugenicist. If white people came and had a civil rights movement and sold all their businesses and brought their businesses and fought me for me to get rich, fought me in my own deli or my own lunch counter to get rich off of me, hell, I'd get a nigga award too. After I got rich off of his people, after all these white people done filled up my store and gave me all their money and fought me to be in my business, I'd get a nigga an award too. I'd say, damn, Martin Luther King was an amazing cat. Because I hated these niggas, I hated these white people to death, and they still came in here and made me a millionaire. Well, I'll be damned. Like that's how they looking at it. They ain't looking at it like they love him. They looking at it like they couldn't see. They hated us so much that they couldn't see the money and the wealth and the potential in getting our dollars. Go ahead, General.
He was good for America. You know,
right.
He showed them the way. You know what I mean? While we no colors allowed, we can get all this money and get rich and wipe them out totally. You know what I'm saying? He helped oppress us.
Come on. And if I could, sir, Martin Luther King was so high all the time and chasing white girls. He didn't even understand how white people were manipulating him. He was such a drug addict and such a sexual deviant. He probably looked at what Margaret Sanger was doing as if it was helping black people because it was getting rid of unwanted children. And of course, if black women are having all these unwanted children, we can't feed all these children. We got no way to take care of them. So it really helps us for you to have abortions, because he was stupid. Because why in the hell would the government put programs in place to end poverty if they could just kill your kids?
That's right.
That's cheaper. It's like going to Nazi Germany. Why would Hitler give Jewish people employment if he could put them in the gas chamber?
Right.
It's cheaper. The gas is cheaper.
That's right.
Well, it's cheaper to abort babies than to have programs to make sure that child has a good school,
right?
To make sure that child has food,
health
to make
care.
sure that child has health care. Why would you press for abortion rights when the government is not going to choose education over abortion?
Right.
Because this one costs nothing.
Right.
Education, 4-year college, and going to the doctor and health care, it's expensive.
Right.
They're not going to do both of them. They're going to say have an abortion. Now I don't have to have school lunch programs.
Right.
Now I don't have to put them in high school or college. Martin Luther King was so high. He didn't see that this is not helpful. I'm sure in his mind, this is what they always do, sir. They think if you can let the girl have an abortion, she'll go to college. Oh, that's the scam. The scam is if she doesn't have this baby, then she'll go to college. Here's what's going to happen. You don't have any people if they're dead to go to college. Right? You can't just have an empty chair in the college. You have to have people to go to college. The girl is not going to college. Guess what the girl is going to do? Have 5 abortions. She's going to keep having abortions and keep having abortions. And then by then, she's not going to college because her mind is destroyed. Because although the state says it's not murder, her conscience knows it is. And that girl is not going to college. And now we have children that white people don't have to help because Martin Luther King said to kill them. Salakia.
she not only is she not gonna go to college, but because she didn't go to college and can't get the best job, she's gonna struggle and get older, and then she's gonna get the breast cancer from having the abortion.
Here we go again. It's like we were suckers to white people.
Yes, we were.
I know for a fact we were suckers to white people because Martin Luther King said he was a sucker to white people by saying, I regret that I have integrated my people into a burning house. I believe that my dream has now become a nightmare. What does that mean? He was a fool. He made a mistake and he was a fool. And we're still paying for it today.
And any woman that's going to kill the baby instead of struggling to have a baby, she surely ain't going to struggle to go to college.
Are you kidding?
Like that don't make no sense.
No.
She pregnant. She ain't going to say, if she don't say to herself, I'm going to still get my career. I'm going to have this baby. I'm going to let this child have life. I'm gonna take care of this baby, and I'm still gonna make it to college. If she ain't willing to go through the struggle of just having the baby, after she killed the baby, she ain't going through the struggle to go to college. She gonna be she gonna be going to college every other year for 2 classes and dropping out.
That's all.
And then getting pregnant again.
Yeah.
And then killing that baby
There
too.
you go.
And then after Martin Luther King says, my dream became a nightmare, he's admitting I was wrong about everything. And they still pushing his dream today.
Come on.
Shows you he only good for America.
Yes.
He ain't good for us. He good for America.
Right. Like you said, he done already said it. And listen, and you preachers in the church, you the ones that's keeping it going. You the ones that's keeping it going. Thank the Lord these churches are emptying out. And let me tell you something else too, if I could. There is something comical that's coming out. Mm-hmm. Do you know that these churches are being filled up with Africans now? And the Africans is putting pressure on the black leaders to push the Africans into the leadership. Mm-hmm. So now you black leaders that was all about Africa, now you see what it's like with a heathen coming up to take your seat. Because that's exactly what's in a minute. It's going to be all African preachers over these churches. Yeah. And they're going to be screwing every black woman that's dumb enough to go to church. In the first place, you dumb as you could possibly be if you go to church. They're going to be screwing all the black women that's going to church, getting their immigration papers, and the rest of you Negroes going to be out in the cold. Both you and them sodomites, because they're going to get rid of them sodomites too. They're letting them sodomites run for a minute, but in a minute, them sodomites will not be allowed up in them churches after a while, because then there'll be African churches, and they got a lust for a woman like a dog. They got a lust for a woman that's like a real rat. And they ain't gonna get enough. They had one African preacher had the women get butt naked in a tub to get a blessing from God in front of their husbands. Take off their clothes and get butt naked in a tub while this nasty piece of garbage pretends to pray over her. Anybody going to church, man, in this century, you a fool. You a total fool. So, Lockie, where we going next, y'all?
Maybe the Ghana one.
Let's do it. What's happening in Ghana?
Why African Americans are flocking to Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
African Americans and those from the Caribbean are returning to countries like Ghana more than 400 years after their ancestors left Africa as slaves. Many say they want either to reconnect or resettle on the continent. Tony Onokma originally hails from Mississippi in the United States of America, but more than 10 years ago, she decided to move abroad. I had this strong edge to come to Africa. I wanted to experience it. Something has been tagging my heart to come and visit the motherland, she told DW.
And let me tell you something. Every silly, lonely black Christian woman, every dumb, stupid, lonely, can't get a man black woman is running to Africa thinking she gonna get her a mandingo. Okay? You gonna get Ebola. That's what you about to get. Go ahead.
If I may, sir, I cannot believe I didn't bring this out earlier, sir, but apparently Steve Harvey's daughter, Lori Harvey, is now with a Hamite herself now. Another one on the list.
And the wave is coming. And we said it. The way. Oh, Mawa Quad is in here. Captain Mawa Quad. You there in the clubhouse? Captain Mawa Quad brought a story out for us.
Salaki, General, I'm here.
Cap, bring out that story, man. About
Which one, sir?
about the
Salaki?
Africans that you showed me this morning or yesterday morning.
You said some Africans?
Yeah, it was an African story you brought me that was right along the lines of what we were saying. It should be in your text. You sent it to me in the text. Oh man.
Let me check right quick, John.
Come on, Malqua. Hold up. I think I got it right here. Let me see.
If I could, sir.
Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, General. If I could. Listen to this, y'all. Black people, boy, y'all so blind. I got it, Malquad. Check this out.
Come on, Conta.
Michael B. Pratt, a business mogul born in the United States of America. Note the name, Michael B. Pratt. Specifically, Los Angeles is set to build an ultra-modern film studio in Ghana. This is a man from America. The facility is said to have an estimated value of $350 million and will sit on a land area of 329 acres. The entrepreneur was installed as a development chief in the I.S.U.P. Kingdom in the central region of Ghana. Following his new status, Mr. Pratt will now be addressed by his royal name, Nana Dukabo E.M. Faturme. I probably got that wrong, which literally translates as development chief. He promised to replicate Hollywood in the West African country with the state-of-the-art facility upon completion. I was born in Los Angeles and raised around celebrities and executives. Essentially, I was raised around Hollywood, and now I will bring Hollywood to Ghana. That's what happens when Martin Luther King's philosophy is in a black man's brain. He's going to take $350 million of his entrepreneurial money and instead, look, that's his picture there? Yeah. Look at him. Look at him. You understand? That's the model of the studio.
That's a mock-up of this.
That's a mock-up of it, right? He's going to build a $350 million studio for Africans to replicate Hollywood. And meanwhile, black people living in Los Angeles in RVs and in their car. Right there in LA, he ain't building nothing for them to get a job. Welcome to Martin Luther King and the civil rights integration. Like, this is the nightmare of the Lord's chosen people, right or wrong. This is the nightmare of the Lord's chosen people. And listen, he's sitting up there with his new African name. He thinks he is special. And even rich people could be dumb as hell sometimes. Could be dumb as hell. You understand? They're using him, and they're going to take that money. And once again, this is why the Lord had to make a law for you, because you will never love your own. If God don't make it a law for you to love your own, you will eat and cannibalize and hate every one of your own brothers and love every nation. If not for the Most High, these 12 tribes would dissipate in the thin air because you'd all join the other nations, man. And you just fall up under them and stay under them. Just like we did when we came out of Egypt. We told we was going to kill Moses. We was going to murder Moses to get back to slavery in Egypt. Threatened him with murder. Came up against him with arms to kill him. After we saw the Lord do miracles for us, just to get back to slavery. The Lord got so mad, he opened the ground up. The Lord got so mad, he caused an earthquake to swallow up the people that was fighting against Moses. That's how angry he was, because they were so dumb. They were so dumb. And that's what this fool is getting ready to do. So now all the Africans going to have jobs. They're going to make all kind of African movies, listen, they're going to bring them voodoo gods out in a second. They're hiding them voodoo gods from you now. Please. They waiting to get some good money behind them. And before you know it, there'll be a ton of them voodoo gods coming up next. In a minute, you Negroes will be worshiping African statue heads and all kind of silly nonsense that they worshiping over there. Because you just blind. Go ahead, Salah.
You know, we should do, sir. We should ask any sisters out there who have been scammed by Africans to call in. Maybe 1 week. Let's have about 300 women call in here who have been scammed by some African and has taken every penny from her. Call in and tell your story anonymously, at least.
Yeah.
Because that is what Africans do. Africans take being a scam artist, it's an industry to them. It's like a trade to be a scam artist. And this movie studio and this mock-up of this movie studio is a scam.
Yeah.
It's a scam to get black people to go, wow, this is a real Wakanda. How can you're going to go invest money in some movie studio. You're going to go move to Ghana because the Africans want rich black people to come to Ghana. Bring your money. Make sure you bring your money with you because they want you there to take every penny that you have. And you're going to go back to Detroit with your drawers ripped off of you, and you'll be back in Detroit. And they'll have every penny of your money. Africans have been doing this, I mean, like an industry for 30 years.
Yeah.
Call in. You know it's black women listening who gave some African prince $10,000, $25,000. And they want you to come to Africa because they're going to rip your pockets off of you in Africa.
If they don't eat you.
If they don't eat you. And then the racism is going to drive you back to Detroit.
Yes.
After you're broke. As penniless. They're going to be so racist to you, you're going to run out of there like you ran out of Alabama in the 60s.
That's right.
You're going to leave Africa and end up right back in Detroit. Like I could pull about 200 videos of some Africans scamming some stupid, lonely woman, which is what Commanding General Yohanna said. That's the engine to all of this. They take a black man, they say, now you're a king. You're King Wukafi. Now, that's who you are. That's your name. You're a King Wukafi. A black woman, you're so lonely that you have decided you've had sex with all the American men. You've had sex with half the women. Why not go to Africa and find somebody to have sex with over there? You're going to Africa literally because you just had sex with everything in America and it didn't work. You tried lesbianism back in the 90s for the same thing. You tried that. You said, well, damn, I can't find a good man. Let's just be a lesbian. You tried being a lesbian. That lasted about a year. You tried that about a year. You started fighting her over maxi pads in the bathroom and fighting her over hairbrushes. Stop being a lesbian. Now you're trying Africans. Let me tell you what's going to happen, baby girl. He's going to take every penny that you have, Prince of Wakanda, and send your broke, busted tail back to Detroit
with a new African venereal disease.
With something out of a laboratory, something nobody heard of. You're going to have
something gonna fall out.
General, Salaki, General, can I say something?
Something gonna fall out your box and start walking around.
Gee, man, that is terrible.
How about the window?
A gremlin. You don't have a gremlin jump out the tail like
They got to chase down the contagion.
You talk about you looking for gray aliens. You about to find them. Go ahead, Balkar Salaki.
No, what I was just gonna say, what General Muhammad was bringing out was so heavy. Of course, you know, Nigerians are known for coming over here to America, marrying our sisters for citizenship, dumping them, having some babies by them, move their kids back to Nigeria sometime. But once they dump them or whatever, then they move their Nigerian woman over here to America. And the reason I know, because it happened to my auntie or whatever, you know what I mean? And I grew up with one of my cousins. Her father is Nigerian. She thought she was going to come to one of the cookouts a couple years ago. I had to disappoint her. She mad at me. She mad at me. She mad at me until this day because she couldn't come to the cookout. You know what I'm saying? So what General Muhammad was saying is so true. Salak.
Damn right. Thank the Lord. There's somebody that still believes in loving their own kind above everybody else. Thank the Lord that there is some that think that way. You know what I mean? Damn right.
Then that brother, he's sitting there proud as hell, thinking he done gave all to his people.
Right.
350 million. And once they rape him, like the Gen.YAHANNA said, and he got nothing, he gonna come back here hating us.
Yes.
Hating black people over here because of what the Hamites did to him.
Oh man, that's such a good point.
And I'll help you a little more, my eye. He don't have $350 million.
No.
This is all for you to invest in it. Like, this is all. That's what the mock-ups, they do it too. They show you that old city glistening. This is what we're going to have. We're going to have this beautiful city so that you can run down, move down there to work in that studio. And of course, they just need some investors, and this whole thing we can get off the ground. That's all we. Here's the mock-up of it right here. This is what we're going to have. You put your 25,000 in here, and you can get on the ground floor of this wonderful new music studio.
Yeah.
Here's the mock-up. You see it right here. This is what we're going to have. All we need is your 50,000, and so we can start this beautiful studio, because that's all they do. They're liars and scammers, and they hustle the simple and stupid and lonely.
The dreamers.
The dreamers.
That's right.
So lucky, sir.
No, damn right. Damn right. Go ahead, you die.
What I was gonna say, you know, what y'all bringing out is just so heavy. It reminded me of what happened with Meek over there in Africa, where he went to Ghana and got robbed, beat up, chased him into the venue, and then he went on Twitter talking about, oh, I gotta go back to Africa. I gotta sign one of their artists, you know what I mean, to my label. And then next thing you know, you at the fight, you know what I mean, with Tank, and you get into it with two brothers in Philly, Wallow and Gilly. You know what I mean? And you ready to, you know what I mean, go to war with them brothers, but you just got beat up and robbed by him.
And what you're saying is so heavy, you die in this. That after that happens, like, we learn the lesson to include and give all we have to the heathen. Like, see how he said, I got to go back to Africa and sign an artist? Because in his mind, that beating and abuse that he took over there means that he wasn't sharing the wealth. He didn't bring in an African artist. He should have been really being down with the motherland. And that's the problem with you. That's the problem with you, brother. And that's that MLK philosophy. And like you said, then you're going to come home and hate us, like that, like the point you just brought out. Yeah. You're going to come home and hate your own brothers, man. When you got to choose your brothers above all. Right. You understand? Give me something good, y'all. Give me Tobit, when his father told him to marry a woman of his own kind. You know what I mean? And everybody know the story of Samson. 4 and 12, sir. You know the story of Samson. I ain't even got to read that. Go ahead, Doc.
The book of Tobit, chapter 4 and verse 12. Beware of all whoredom, my son.
He's saying beware of all whoredom, meaning all kinds of whoredom. Going out and dealing with these other nations is considered whoredoms. You understand? It's considered whoredoms. Go ahead,
Doc. And chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers.
Above all. Chiefly, that's what it means. Above everything, take you a wife of your own daughters. Let me tell you something. That's a father that knows how to educate his son. A father that knows how to educate his son would explain this to him the way Tobit's father explained it to him. You got more? Read. Once again, you talking all that philosophy and BS and religions and ideas. I don't need none of that. You could miss me on all that, as the young brothers be saying in here. Give me these scriptures, that's what I need. Give me these scriptures, and I can figure all the rest out. I don't need nothing else. That's why I say ain't no other scriptures is married to these, man. Go ahead.
And take not a strange woman to wife.
Don't take a strange woman. And that applies to a woman as well. You understand? A lot of you black women, you lonely because you a monster, man. You a monster. You like something out of the, out of the mold of Mordog or something. Like a complete monster. I was parked just today. I'm parked and some woman comes out of her house, goes to her car, she waiting on her kid. The kid finally comes out, he like 5, 6 years old. He get down the steps out in front of the house, she throws a soda at it. Bah! Hits the damn kid. Why you took so long? I mean, hit the kid with a soda. You shouldn't even hit a grown-up with a soda. I looked, man, I said, this is a complete creature, man. threw him in the car and ran and drove off. Like, that was a monster. And there's a ton of you out there. And then, of course, instead of getting therapy for your crazy ass, instead of doing that, you just run over there and go get you an African who smiles in your face and pretends like he loves you until he gets an envelope from the United States Department of Immigration saying you have received your green card. Then it's all over with you and him. And you don't learn. And then, like y'all brought out, you come back to us mad as hell. Mad as you could possibly be. Like it's our fault. When if you listen to the prophets of the Lord, you'd have a man and keep a man and have a wonderful life and relationship with that man. It ain't going to be easy because you ain't accustomed to it. But it will be better than anything else you ever had before. And listen, and if it don't go all the way right, we be right here to straighten it the hell out. You'll have some real backup instead of having to run to the damn child support court. Go ahead, Hop.
Which is not of thy father's tribe.
Don't get nobody that ain't of your father's tribes, man. Go ahead.
Khan. For we are the children of the prophets.
There it is. Come on. That's it? Come on.
Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, my son, that our fathers from the beginning, even that they all married wives of their own kindred.
Damn, he dropped. Went all the way back 1,000 years from that time and said our forefathers all marry wives of our own kindred, man. There's nothing wrong with that. How you going to let your slave master tell you you can't love your people above everybody else? How the hell you going to let your slave master tell you that? Your slave master acting like you ain't supposed to love you when he loving his own above you. That's how you ended up in slavery. He ain't wake up one day and take a few white people and throw them in the slave pit and say, now y'all slaves too. He ain't never did that. He made sure he separated his from yours while he was putting you in slavery and took care of his while abusing you. And now all of a sudden, oh, that was a bad idea. Even though we did it for 400 years, you black people, you can't do that. You got to love us. Wake up, man. Wake up, man. These things that the Lord have handed down to me, man, to hand to this nation and this world, brother, are absolute pure gold. They absolutely the damn solution to what the hell we've been suffering for so long. And it all comes from our great King, man, Yahawashi, and we should hold on to it, man. Is that it on that? Con, go ahead. Anybody on the clubhouse want to chime in, man, that's in the room with Captain Tazariak, Captain Mount Quad, and the rest of the brothers? Y'all chime in. Go ahead, Salaki.
Khan. And we're blessed in their children, and their seed shall inherit the land.
Did you hear that? We're blessed in their children, and their seed inherited the land. Their seed inherited the land. You gave up yours to the other nations, and guess what? You ain't inheriting anything. You being wiped out. You inheriting slavery. That's what your kids inherited. Slavery, self-destruction, self-violence against one another, deep hatred and animosity, murder over colors. That's what you inherited because you didn't have a father that taught you like Tobit, who had forefathers that taught him, whose forefathers learned it from the almighty power Yahweh and passed it on down. You didn't have that. And as a result, your life is destroyed, man. This is one of the biggest and most important things. This MLK Day, this is so important. That this, and listen, and big shout out to the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, man. Okay? Nobody came up against the MLK philosophy but the I.S.U.P.K.
That's right.
I mean, every last black group in America endorsed and embraced the MLK philosophy. Radical groups put down their radicalness and said we could all integrate. Mm-hmm. Groups that said the white man was the devil too put it down. They hate us, we still say it. I gotta find a better way to say it on YouTube. Find a couple metaphors or something. Esau is the adversary or something. I don't know. I can find some nice ways to say it. So they don't clip our videos every week, but I'm going to say it because it got to be said, because it is what has happened to us in this place, right? And listen, that's why, if I could, I'm going to embellish a little. That's why a prophet is such an amazing thing that the Lord give you, because a prophet got to say what nobody wants to hear said. And that's what you're supposed to understand. You reading the Bible, and because your preacher is a love-selling junkie, full of lies, you think that the men of God supposed to give you nice words. Matter of fact, get that for me. Prophesy smooth words. Last one I'm going to get up off. You understand? You think a man of God supposed to prophesy nice, smooth, sweet things to you. When you're supposed to know, based on studying the Bible, prophets say very harsh things against your belief. Why? Because they're fighting demons that really are trying to take control of you. And this MLK philosophy, it's a demon that is on you. And prophets it's their job. God raised them up to say what nobody else wants to be said. Because, of course, the Lord can see past all your nonsense and then brings the prophets to say what would not otherwise be said. Go ahead.
Kawakan, Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 10, which say to the seers.
No, go above it.
Kanamakan, the book of Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 9, that this is a rebellious people.
The Lord said we rebellious. We go against the way of the Most High. Go ahead.
Lying children.
We lie. MLK was a liar about his dream. Your preacher's a liar about God's will. Go ahead.
Kanamakan, children that will not hear the law of the Lord.
Children that will not stick to the Lord's law. Tobit stuck to it. Said, man, don't marry no other nation. Us, we don't want to stick to it. We love a heathen. You brothers go to the sports arena, sign $100 million contract. Throw away your black woman and go get a white girl. You trade right up, or what you think you trading up. What you think you trading up. And you go and get that filth. Instead of sticking to the law of the Lord. Go ahead, Oxalaki.
Khan, sir. Which say to the seers, see not.
You say to the seers, the ones that could see, you say to them, see not. The ones that have the wisdom to see you going off the road, you tell them, be quiet. We don't want to hear that. That's what Martin Luther King did. And guess what? It went off the rails. The seers were saying, the prophets of God were saying, that is wrong. That is against the scriptures. They ain't want to hear that. See not. Go ahead.
Khan, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things.
Don't tell us what's right. Tell us what we want to hear. Tell us what feels good. You love a preacher that preach good, sweet words in your ear, that stroke your ego, that lie to you about your future being right. You love it. When the Lord said, that's what we love, man. And you coming into the truth, you supposed to go against that. Go ahead, Doc.
Khan. Speak unto us smooth things.
Tell us smooth words. Make us feel good. That's why Ezekiel said, they come to hear you, and you're like one that playeth well on an instrument, but they will not do what you said. They won't go do what the Lord said to do. You got more? Finish it, please. I'm getting up off it.
Prophesy deceits.
Tell us lies. And that's exactly what happened. And you got to become a person that say, I don't want no more lies. I'm going to swallow down the truth. I don't care what it is. I don't want no more lies. And brother, I thank the Lord for the words that Christ said, know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. I thank the Father from heaven that I do not follow the philosophy of Martin Luther King to the demise of blacks and Latinos, man. Salaki. What? I'm off. Where we going, y'all? Salaki.
One more, you die.
Khan. Kind of, sort of married.
What's the biggest one? Please, you got it.
Conor McCon. Khan is sort of married. Ye reportedly held secret wedding ceremony with Yeezy designer Bianca Censori.
So this is Ye, formerly known as Kanye West. He married another white woman. He's hard-headed, sir.
What's her name? She Latino?
La, sir. Bianca Censori.
I was trying to help him out.
He got a hard head.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Conor McCon.
And let me tell you, if I could, let me tell you, that's how you know when you brainwash. If you poor and in the hood, and then you become wealthy, and now you go and get a woman of another nation, that means you hate your nation. You hate your world. Like every other heathen becomes wealthy and brings their philosophy, their food, their culture, their identity. They bring it and force it on everybody else, not you. You shun your identity and go and get the other nations. And that's exactly what Adam did in the garden. That's how you know you the chosen people of the Lord. So, Lakia, go ahead, Doc.
Ye and Censori held a private ceremony to celebrate their union. The alleged couple hasn't filed for a marriage certificate, but this means the marriage is not likely legal yet. West was first spotted with Censori entering the Waldorf Astoria, Beverly Hills on Sunday, January 8th. Photos of them riding around in his Maybach, donning a white grin, it's like a wide grin, and entering the LA hotel marked the first time Ye was spotted in public in weeks.
Like, I don't get it.
Looks like Kim Kardashian.
Right. I think I understand the whole thing from top to bottom. If you want,
come on with it.
I think I do. I think I understand it. Okay, Kanye West, right? Kanye West, I think, has a pornography addiction. I think he has a terrible pornography addiction, and I think that's why he married the most famous porn star in history, which is what Kim Kardashian is. Kim Kardashian has the highest selling pornography tape in history to this day.
Sure do.
With her, I think, in the Ray J. Am I right about that?
I think you're right.
I think you saw all three the sequel too. I think your diet had the sequel. So I saw Kim Kardashian. What's the Fury? Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Tokyo Drift.
And can I just give you a little information that they say about that? They say that Kim Kardashian's mother told her to make that tape because Paris Hilton did a tape with her naked and made her famous.
That's right.
And her mother told her, go do the same thing.
Like Kanye West has a very simple black man's problem. And that is looking at white women on pornography, in porno movies, and pornography, idolizing them and wanting them, and then seeking them out in real life. Like they turn the pornography off.
Yeah.
And then they go into the real world to find the porn star that they've been sexualized to from masturbation. And so now they need to find a living porn star. His resources allowed him to go get the actual porn star. The one who he watched, the one who he fantasized about. He went and married her, and now he's stuck in that. And here's the sad part about it. If he doesn't understand, or people like him don't understand it's a sickness, this is a man that loves his mother, thinks about how his mother struggled alone and wanted to make money so his mother could have some help. But when it came time for him to help a woman, he chose a woman that looks nothing like his mother. There's nothing like his mom. And that's because his choice was not made based on love, but based on a sexual deviance. Because he does love his mom, and it hurt him to see her suffering, and he wants to help a woman like her. But his sexual deviance will only let him have the women he fantasizes about. That's Kim Kardashian. That's just her. No, but it's Kim Kardashian.
Another hoe.
It's just another. She looks just like her.
Right.
It's a fetish.
Right.
You get my point? It's like a fetish in your brain that some men can't kick. They can't let go of it, even though they're going. You sit and talk to them, they'll say, "My mom, I love my mom so much. She did it all by herself. She struggled and worked 3 jobs." Well, more black women are going to work 3 jobs because you give your money to a white woman. So there are other sisters that are going to work 3 jobs, just like your mother. By choosing that white woman, you have condemned some other sister to suffer alone. So now she'll work 3 jobs. There'll be a son who will watch his mother suffer because you are the one that was supposed to be that woman's hero. But instead, you gave your money to your sexual fetish, which just comes from watching pornography so much. And then finally, one day, you go and look for the real life porn star, and he went and found the one. Not one that looks like a white. Most black men, all you want is somebody that's white. That's good enough for you. You ever wonder why black men will, if she's a fat, disgusting, ugly white woman, that's good enough for them. This is the reason why. Because that is close enough to the fantasy. The fantasy is white. So if she's white, she doesn't have to be attractive. That's how the sexual fetish, that's how strong it is. You would think, well, damn, don't you need a pretty white woman? An attractive white woman? No, because this ain't that. This is a sexual fetish. This is like wearing fur or dressing up in a fur costume or, needing a ball and chain around your neck. Your fantasy is white women. So this 300-pound woman is a white woman. I'm in love because she suits the fetish, the sickness. What does this mean? If you want to help black people, you're going to have to get rid of your sexual deviances. If you want strong black men, you're going to have to not be like Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King allowed all his sexual deviance to pollute him politically. It polluted him in his work. So now he's in love with white women. He loves white women. He goes to work and joins white people with black people because he has a sexual fetish that he's trying to ignore, acting like it doesn't matter, but it is going to affect his work. That's what's happening with Kanye West, sir. Salaki.
And it's horrible. And let me tell you, and that is why we as a nation have to come together. You must come together. That's why this Passover, April 1st, everybody is ordered to be in Raleigh, North Carolina. Let me tell you something. If this was about something else, some lustful, evil thing, it'd be no problem with every last one of us getting there. You think about all the places you drove and rode and rid and flew to do something utterly simple as hell. Then think about how hard Satan is trying to make it for you to not come to the Lord's 54th annual Passover. Join me April 1st, Raleigh, North Carolina. We're going to do this thing as a nation, as a people, together. We're going to come together and call on the Lord and bring in the Lord's Passover. Everybody go to I.S.U.P.K.com, I.S.U.P.K.com, and go ahead and pay your Passover fee. Pay the $200. Pay it first. Pay it before you get the plane ticket. Pay that $200 and support this truth. We laying out everything for this nation. And let's go show the world, like fulfill your obligation. Show the world that the Lord's chosen people live and that the nations will no longer be able to rob and rape blacks and Latinos and Native Indians like it's going out of style. Your presence means everything at this Passover and to the world that's watching. The world is watching, believe me. They watching, and they're wondering, is this the movement of God? Is this the Lord bringing his nation back? And they're skeptical, and you can't be. You must be strong, and you must have the forethought and the strength to go there. And I pray the Lord bless you. The lottery is $1 billion right now. Okay, I'm just saying. Somebody spend $1. Pay your tithes. I'm just saying. My point being this. If we don't do it, nobody will. And we in the mindset like the Lord can't shine on us, like the preachers ain't got no problem gathering up a ton of money and spending it on every little boy that they find. Why we can't gather together as a people and really raise the truth of the Most High for us and our people. Everybody pay your $200 for the Passover. Everybody prepare. Join me April 1st,
Raleigh, North Carolina, the Raleigh Convention Center. We about to pack the house. We coming from all over the world to descend on Raleigh, North Carolina, man. Come and join me, man. April 1st. I'll see y'all there. We do it up live every Monday night right here on the Black Watch channel. Got the heavy hitters with me, General Muhammad, General Maka'ala, General Hazion will be back next week. Officer Marah, Officer Yediah, Officer Yawanathan, holding it down with us, doing it up like we do every week live. Big shout out to all the cans. Big shout out to Captain Tazaria, Captain Malquad, Captain Dawada, holding it down over there on the TikTok, on the clubhouse, man. We'll see y'all next time live on the UPK family. Shalom.
Shalom, Israel. And when I mean Israel, I'm talking about the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. The Lord's 54th annual Passover is going down again this year, sundown, April 1st at 500 South Salisbury Street in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Downtown Conventional Center. It's got enough room for all of us. The Lord's 54th annual Passover. Last year, brothers and sisters showed up from all over the world, rocking ancient garments and glorious apparel in order to serve the Most High in Christ. Now it's that time again. Commander General Yahanna is putting out the decree for all brothers and sisters to show up sundown, April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us at the Sheridan in Raleigh, the hotel right downtown. It's at 421 South Salisbury. The Passover is right up the block at the convention center, literally within walking distance. Make sure you pull up. Make sure that you do your due diligence because rooms are going fast and they are limited this weekend. You understand? We have months in advance of preparation. Do not wait till the last minute to get your room. The Lord's 54th annual Passover, Saturday, April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us there.
It's about time, send the curses to them enemies.
Lovely, and you'll speak with John. Pretend the camera isn't here. It's my favorite line.
Absolutely.
So, John, why are you here?
So first, I'm Precinct Officer 5000 for Zach Ahmad of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We were started out of 1 West 125th Street out of Harlem, New York. We have the name of General YAHANNA. And we're out here because today is Martin Luther King Day, and it's been 60 years since his famous speech stating that he has a dream. And the past 60 years, as Black Americans, we've had a lot of time to reflect, to analyze, and to look at the legacy of this man right here. And the reality is, Martin Luther King's dream has been a nightmare for Black people in America. You understand? A lot of things that he said, it sounded good, it felt good. But the reality is, our conditions as a people hasn't changed as much as we would like to believe it has. And so we're out here and we're just doing a couple of different interviews with people just to get their perspective and get a general consensus on what the people, what this means to them. And, this is supposed to be a statue of hope. But I don't think it makes sense now to tell people to have hope in joining people that hate you and joining the people that don't view you as human. So I want to ask you a second question. So a dream not fulfilled. Absolutely. A dream not fulfilled, and not only that, a dream that will never be fulfilled. It's not the reality to believe that we can all join together in love when there's a people that are being destroyed and abused and oppressed. And I'll just say this, and I spoke to a gentleman earlier, he was Jewish, and we had an excellent conversation. And I asked him, would it make sense for the Jewish to have stayed in Germany when they were being abused and oppressed and the horrible things that happened to them? And he then clicked for him, he understood, he's like, okay, so separation has to happen, and we follow a man that is greater than Martin Luther King, that follows what we believe in the Bible, and that's Commanding General YAHANNA. He teaches us to do what God says, and God told us to join ourselves together, O nation of Zion, not join ourselves to the people that hate you and abuse you and murder you. No one would advocate to continue to love your abuser. Everyone knows it's prudent and it's wise to separate yourself from someone that means you harm. And so That's what we do. You know, we have our Passover coming up April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it's going to be an excellent event for all Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to come out. Like I said, we look at Martin Luther King, and he was a brother just like us, but we believe his dream has not played out the way that he thought it would play out, and that many of those brothers in the civil rights movement would have thought it played out. So,
what's your name?
Kazak, priest and officer Kazak Ahmad.
Can you spell your first name too?
Absolutely.
Or your last name too?
CHAACAQIMAD.
Cool. Thanks so much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, oh yeah, we got dip.